Hey everybody, David and David here with Colin Boyd, a WordPress expert who is going to show you how to build a WordPress website step by step.
Colin's one of the newest members of our team and a great teacher. Hey Colin, how you doing?
Hi guys, I'm doing well. Thanks for the introduction. Today I'm going to show you all how to build a WordPress website using GoDaddy step by step. It doesn't matter if you have any prior experience with building websites. Today I'm going to walk you through every part of the process from A to Z.
And before you get started, make sure to click the link in the description to get the best deal on GoDaddy hosting.
Hi everyone, Colin here. I have GoDaddy pulled up on my browser and I'm going to start registering for an account. To do this, I'll click Sign in the top right of the page, then click Create an Account. Now I'm going to sign up with my UpPhone email address and I'll type in my password and click Create Account. Once my account goes live, I'll click Start Shopping and then select WordPress near the top of my browser. Manage WordPress hosting is what we recommend to anyone looking to build their own website right now, and luckily it's easily accessible through GoDaddy. We recommend signing up for the Ultimate plan as it comes with free SSO, as that can be very helpful to anyone building a website in 2021. To select this plan, just click Add to Cart. I recommend signing up for the 12-month plan, which comes with a free domain and a 30-day money-back guarantee if you wind up not liking WordPress. And I'm going to type in my domain, which is wpgtutorial.com, which stands for WordPressGoDaddyTutorial.com, and then I'll click Select and Continue. And here I can look over my cart. As you can see, it features the 12-month Managed WordPress Hosting subscription, as well as my domain. It also has a built-in promo code. If you'd like to save on your GoDaddy website, check out the promo code listed in our video description. And now I'm just entering my payment information, which took about 5 minutes. Whenever you finish filling out your payment info, just click Complete Purchase. Now I'll select Manual WordPress Setup. Now we need to set up our WordPress account, so I'm just going to set up my username, make sure that your username and password adhere to the WordPress qualifications. Select your geographic location, and now give GoDaddy a minute to load your new site. Alright, once the website is loaded, you can hit View My Site. It'll log you into WordPress with the account information that you entered earlier. And you're looking at a WordPress website. Now, if you would like to edit your website, go back to the GoDaddy page, go to My Products, scroll down to Manage WordPress, select Manage, and then to get to the WordPress backend, which is where we'll be spending a lot of the next portion of this tutorial, just click Go to Customizer. You'll be brought to this editor with a menu to the left and a preview on the right. And while we will be doing some work in the customizer, most of our website construction will take place in the WordPress dashboard. To get to the dashboard from here, just click the little X in the top left corner. Once we are in the WordPress dashboard and we have our website set up within GoDaddy, the first thing that we're going to do is select a theme. A theme acts as a visual and structural template so that you don't have to just create your website from scratch. It simplifies the whole building process greatly. There are tons of them out there. A lot of them are built into WordPress. We are going to purchase a theme from a website called StudioPress, and they have a huge array of themes for all kinds of businesses and website subjects. So go to StudioPress.com, select Genesis Themes, and then scroll down. I'm going to select the Essence Pro theme package. A lot of these are great, but this is the one that our team is a big fan of. And I am going to purchase the Buy Theme and Framework package. This comes with all kinds of helpful features, a great support system, and it's truly worth the investment. StudioPress theme will make your entire website building and hosting experience much simpler and more secure. Once you've selected the theme, you gotta insert your payment information. And once you have your payment information entered and you have your account set up, just make sure that you save your login info just in case you ever need to come back to it. And we are going to follow this link to my downloads. And we're going to download both Genesis Framework and Essence Pro. And now we are going to go back to the WordPress dashboard, and we are going to go to Appearance and then select Themes. And in the theme section, click Add New. And then select Upload Theme. And the first thing that you're going to upload is Genesis Pro, because that's what you need to have running to access your StudioPress theme. Click Install Now. Once Genesis is finished loading, go back to the Themes page by clicking the Return to Themes page button. Select Add New. It's basically the same process. Upload theme again. Then choose File. And this time, you're going to add Essence Pro and hit Install Now. You'll notice that here it says that this theme requires a parent theme, which is Genesis 3.3.3, which we already have installed. Now go back to the themes page again, under Appearance. And then you'll see Essence Pro here, and you're going to want to select Activate. Select Set Up Your Website. This might take a minute. And if you would like to see what your website now looks like with your new theme running on it, select View Your Homepage. And boom, you now have a beautiful WordPress website with lots of cool built-in content that we are going to incorporate into the final structure of our website. As you can see, like a lot of this page's functionality is already up and running. You can scroll through the menu and see tons of built-in information. And now the world is really your oyster for how you want to go about replacing this content with your own content, images with your own images, name with your own name. But now I am going to show you how to build a website with this as your theme. Okay, now that we have a theme selected and active on the website, we're going to start customizing. So what you want to do is go to Appearance and then Customize. You'll be brought to the WordPress editor. As you can see, there's a number of customization options listed in this menu to the left, and then a preview of the website to the right. The first thing that we want to do is adjust some aspects of the site identity, namely the site title, which we're going to call Financy Nancy. And Financy Nancy is just the fictitious company that we decided to make this website about. As we go deeper into this process, you're going to learn a lot about this very accomplished financial organization that does not exist. You do not have to make a website about a fake organization. You're more than welcome to build one about your own company. I am going to write a tagline that says, "Boring accountants are a thing of the past." If you have a logo, you can enter the logo up here under where it says logo by selecting select logo. We don't have a Financy Nancy logo, so I am just going to use a small stock image that I found online that I thought would serve well. So you can either just select the file and hit open, or just drag it directly into the WordPress editor. Once it's in the WordPress editor, just hit select. You'll be asked to crop the logo. I am going to just keep the whole thing in frame, and then select crop image, and boom.
Boom. Roasted.
We have this little logo in the top left corner now. If your logo comes out too big, which is quite possible, I think I would like to shrink mine a little bit. Select change logo, and then reselect the image, and then hit edit image right here. And we're just gonna shrink the width of the image down to about 280. Not a huge decrease in this image size, but it can be depending on how big the logo that you uploaded was, and then hit scale. See, it's a little bit smaller now. And then update. All right, now the image in your media library has been updated. So you're gonna wanna go back to appearance, back to customize, back to site identity. You'll notice that both the website name and tagline are gone, but you can just hit restore autosave. And now both the title and tagline that we wrote a second ago are back. One of my favorite aspects of WordPress is that it automatically saves your work whenever you perform edits on your website. Now go back to change logo. Go to media library, which is where all of the images that you already have uploaded into your website are available. Select the image again. This image has now been scaled down. And hit select, crop it again, and hit crop image. And now our website logo is hanging out in the corner of our page once again. So the next thing we want to do is change this header background image just to add a more unique quality to your website. So we're going to go back to this menu and hit Essence Pro settings. If you have a different StudioPress theme, it will display the name of that theme here. Then select header background image. And then select add new image. And then upload file, select files. And we are going to select this homepage background image that I have pre-saved. So I'm just uploading a stock image that I downloaded from a stock image website. If you have an image that you find very representational about your website's content, the header background image is a great spot to highlight it. If you have a big image that you took as a photographer, made as a graphic designer, picture of your website, a picture of your founder, picture of your dog, whatever you think is the most appropriate thing to kind of have displayed as the background of your website homepage, this is a great opportunity to display it. And I'm going to select and crop. I'm not going to keep this one full. I'm just going to center it and then crop image. And now you have the heck of a background image to cover your website's homepage. The next thing you want to do is edit the central subtext, which is this content right here. And you can change that by hitting the pencil icon right here. The central subtext is a great place to include your website's tagline or any other small amount of information to summarize what your website's about. And you can change it by selecting and deleting the content under the front page intro paragraph in the customizer, and pasting or typing in whatever you would like that area to say. I happen to have some pre-written textual content all saved in a document for my website. I'm just going to paste that in here. And as you can see, we now have a nice little subtext that's a little bit more appropriate for the website that we're building. While we're here, we can also change the text in these buttons. If you want to keep them the way they are, that's fine, but this is a good opportunity to kind of ask yourself, what's my website doing? What would I want the two buttons in the front and top of the home page of my website to lead to? If you want them to lead to more information about your website and show users how to get in contact with you, they're both great options to do that. I'm going to erase the content in the hero white button text box, and when I do that, the white button is going to automatically disappear. Since I'm making a financial advisory website, I think it would be wise to have one button leading to information about their pricing and services. So I'm going to type find a plan in the hero white button text. And then under the hero white button URL, I'm just going to write /pricing. And the reason I'm doing this is because when you start with a slash when entering text into a button URL text box, your website will automatically assume that the URL is preceded by the domain name of your website. Later in this tutorial, I'll set up a pricing page, so when you click this button, it will automatically take us to wpgdtutorial.com/pricing, because wpgdtutorial.com is going to be the domain name of the website. Okay, so now that the white button is established, I am going to configure the colored button to lead to a contact page, because I think that would also be a wise thing for a financial website to have easy access to. Just like the pricing page, if I just type in /contact in this box for now, later, after I build the contact page, clicking this button should lead us to the contact page automatically. Okay, so the next thing we want to do while we're in Customizer is head back by selecting the back arrow in the top left corner of the Customizer. And back again. And then go to Theme Settings. Select Footer. And we are going to edit this footer listed at the bottom of the page because it's just not good for search engine optimization, and it doesn't look that good either. So you see this ugly little box over here with all of these brackets and quotations. Well, we're just going to cut everything after the copyright bracket, because this is all you really need. And then this is what you call a shortcode, and it basically just performs a bunch of complicated functions that produce nice results on the WordPress front end so that you don't have to. If you would like to write your website name here, feel free. And now you have a nice, simple footer that will be more compatible with search engines. And once you make this change, let's just hit publish. Hitting publish is basically just saving your progress as you go. If you don't see the option to click it, like here, for example, the publish button is grayed out. That means that your data is already up to date and saved, so you don't need to worry about that. In general, it's good practice to hit publish on a regular basis when you're making a lot of changes to your website. And now I'm going to go back to the WordPress dashboard by clicking the X in the top left corner. We have some of our basics set up, like these buttons and a logo. One thing you might be wondering about is how to change the header text on your homepage. And we are going to change that right now. To get rid of the stock text in this central heading, you're going to want to go back to the WordPress dashboard by clicking the little X in the top left corner. And then go to Pages. You can see all of the pages that this theme came set up with. And you're going to want to click on the page that says front page, which is basically how WordPress interprets your home page, and hit edit. And you'll see this pop-up that says, welcome to the block editor. The block editor is one of the most popular methods for structuring a modern website. The best way to describe it would be to contrast it with something like Microsoft Word. A text editor like Word is great for print media, but it doesn't take advantage of the web's versatility. While a text editor allows you to structure paragraphs and headings simply from top to bottom, a block editor gives you more freedom in terms of content and structure. With a block editor, you can add videos and images side by side with text and arrange media in a variety of orders. To access the block editor, just click the little black X in the top right of the pop-up. If you right-click on one of this theme's built-in blog posts, a block menu will appear above it. This menu contains several tools that aid in the customization of blocks. To add blocks, just click on the blue box with a plus icon on the top left corner of the display. In this menu, you can see that GoDaddy and StudioPress both have a large array of blocks to achieve many different structural effects throughout the website. But I'm actually going to hold off on adding blocks for right now, and instead I'm just going to highlight this header text at the top of the display, and I'm going to change it to the title of the website. And next I'm just going to click Update to save my work. And now if you go back to the dashboard by selecting the little WordPress logo in the top left corner, you'll notice the front page is now listed with the website title instead of the built-in text. Now hover your cursor over the front page and select View. It no longer says live the life that you deserve, and instead says Financy Nancy, or whatever you decide to put there. The next one we want to change is going to be the text of the newsletter block at the bottom of the homepage. To find and edit this content, we'll want to click the WordPress logo on the top left corner to return to the dashboard. Next, go back to the Pages listings by selecting the Pages option from the gray menu to the left. Next, you want to hover your cursor over the home page listing again, then click Edit. Now if you scroll down, you'll come to a block that says Join our weekly newsletter. Newsletter is a great way to promote your business or service or keep in touch with your followers. There's a wide variety of types of businesses and websites that could benefit from setting up a newsletter. You don't need one. We're going to keep it. I think it would be pretty beneficial to a financial website, and I think Financy Nancy would want this. So first, we're going to change this heading text by highlighting and then deleting it. And I have my little text document with all of my website's content written and ready to go. And I'm going to copy and paste my pre-written heading into the header block. And I'm going to right-click into the header block and select Paste and Match Style, so that my text gets inserted with the same attributes as the theme stock text rather than my text editor's stock Helvetica. And then I'm going to do the exact same thing with the paragraph text beneath it. And you'll notice in this block, it says that we need to configure some other settings and the API keys. Don't worry, we're going to come back to that. But for now, we'll just leave this how it is and click Update in the top right corner to save our work. Now to take a look at the edited newsletter block, let's go back to the WordPress dashboard by clicking on the WordPress logo in the top left corner and hover over the front page listing again, then select View. And if you scroll down, you'll see that the edits we just made are now visible in the homepage preview. Another thing that you probably noticed about the stock aspects of the homepage are these, which are built-in blog posts that StudioPress wrote and published for us. Blog posts are another great element to include in a huge array of websites, and I'm going to show you how to get rid of these stock posts and contribute your own. So first we'll go back to the WordPress dashboard by clicking the logo in the top left corner. And next you'll want to select the Posts tab near the top of the menu to the left. And you'll see all of these stock posts that StudioPress included for us. We're going to get rid of them all. We don't need them. If you want to see how a post is structured on WordPress, feel free to take a look at them before deleting, but I would not recommend hanging on to any of these stock pre-written posts. To get rid of all these posts at once, first select the checkbox next to title at the top of the list of posts. Then open the drop-down menu that says Bulk Actions directly above it. Select Move to Trash, then Apply. And now you will see that there are no posts in your post page. If you return to the website preview by clicking your website title in the top left corner, you'll see that those two huge post blocks that we saw a minute ago are no longer there. So now let's return to the post editor by going back to the dashboard and selecting posts from the same menu we did a minute ago. And before we keep going, you've probably noticed that the post section of the WordPress dashboard looks almost identical to the pages section of the WordPress dashboard. You might be wondering what the difference between a post and a page is. There is a pretty important distinction between how you should treat posts and how you should treat pages, both in terms of content and style. Basically, pages are more static. They don't really change over time. Both their structure and information should kind of stay the same. Of course, you can always go back and edit a page if you choose to, but generally a page's content is going to be pretty static. Posts are generally more timing-centric. WordPress organizes them chronologically, and their role in conveying a website's content is a little bit more free-formed. Popular examples of posts include status updates, news about the website, personal notes, photo galleries, event announcements, product reviews, and tutorials. They're a great way to make your website feel more personal and lively, and they help to convey new information without drastically changing the website's appearance. So the first step in making a new post is to select Add New right next to where it says Posts. You'll be brought to this block editor display, which you might recognize from when we were working on the newsletter a few minutes ago. And I am first going to add a title, which I have written down in my little content note page. And just a quick note, I'm removing the text editor formatting before I copy the content so that it doesn't carry over when I try to paste it into the block editor. And to establish where I'm going to add this text, I'm going to click where it says Add Title. And if you just hit Command V on a Mac or Control V on a Windows computer, it should just paste automatically right there. And I'm going to do the exact same thing with this little paragraph body text section. And you'll notice that each paragraph that I pasted has its own paragraph block. They're not all included in a single one. If you wanted to break up some content, which we recommend doing, walls of text don't look great on a web page. So kind of keeping it limited to like 3 or 4 lines per paragraph will benefit you aesthetically. You can just hit enter and it'll break into a whole new paragraph block. Since I already had a few paragraph blocks broken up here, I'm going to press Command Z, which is what you can do to undo pretty much anything through the process of building your website. If you're using a PC, you can do the same thing using Control Z. Any other features you add to an individual post are entirely up to you. You can add basically anything you want via the block editor. If you are a photographer or graphic designer, you might be interested in adding an image or image gallery, which will display a huge array of images throughout the post. Since this is just a financial website and this is just a dummy post, we don't have a lot of content ready for that. So all I'm going to do is add a featured image. A post featured image serves a similar purpose to the front page's header background image. Before I show you how to add your own featured image, I'll show you what a post looks like without one. First, I'll save my work by clicking Publish in the top right corner. Then I'll click Publish again to confirm the update. Then I'll head back to the WordPress dashboard by clicking the WordPress logo in the top left corner. In the post section of the dashboard, you can see that the post I just made is now the only one listed. I'll hover my cursor over this post and select View to preview it. So this is what a published post looks like. If you scroll down, you can see the body text we added a moment ago, as well as a comments section. Most notably, we can see that the featured image is the exact same image as the header background image on the front page. While this doesn't look ugly necessarily, it can be nice to change up images between posts and pages to add some diversity to your website. So, to add a new featured image, you'll want to go back to the WordPress dashboard by clicking the WordPress logo in the top left corner, then select Posts in the gray menu to the left. Next, hover your cursor over the post you'd like to add the image to and click Edit. Now, head over to the white menu to the right of the post editor and click the Featured Image tab to open it. Next, click Set Featured Image. And I am going to select a file from my computer, because I have not uploaded this image to WordPress yet. And I have another stock image saved already in anticipation of this blog post. And when I click Open, it should upload to my media library automatically. Once the image uploads, click Set Featured Image in the bottom right corner. And once the featured image is visible in the Featured Image tab, click Update in the top right corner again. Now, if you return to the WordPress dashboard by selecting the WordPress logo, hover your cursor over your post and click View, you'll see that the featured image you just uploaded is now visible. Okay, now if we go back to the home page, which you can always do by clicking your website's name next to the little house icon in the top left corner, you'll see a post preview featuring the featured image that you just added. The final thing you want to do with each post you make for the website is to categorize it. Post categories help people who visit your website find individual posts, and it also helps with search engine indexing. To add a post category, you'll want to return to the WordPress dashboard by clicking the logo in the top left corner, go back to the post section, and select Edit underneath the post that you're working on. Once you get to the post editor, you'll want to open the Categories tab, which is slightly above the Featured Image tab. Select Add New Category. And I'm just going to call this Status Update. You can keep the menu labeled Parent Category the same, and then just click Add New Category. After you click Add New Category, that category you just created should show up in the Categories tab with a checkbox next to it. Leave your new category checked, then uncheck the uncategorized box and click Update in the top right corner. And now to see what a categorized post looks like, I will select Preview right next to Update. It now reads Status Update instead of Uncategorized. So now that I've demonstrated how to create and categorize a post step by step, I'm just going to make a few more posts to fill out the website. The process of making new posts and post categories is pretty similar regardless of the type of post you add. So I'm just going to fast forward through this process and we'll continue with the website build in a few. One helpful thing to do while you're adding posts is to create some more categories. For this post, I'm creating a new category called Nancy's News, which you can see appears directly above Status Update when I hit Add New Category. And here I'm adding a new featured image to the same post just to add some visual diversity to the website. And here we have a lovely new post, categorized and visually appealing. Now, if we view the website's homepage by clicking the website title in the top left corner, we can see that our second post is displayed right next to the first one. The last post editing step I'm going to teach you is how to edit the author's name. As you can see here, these posts say that they were written by my WordPress username, which is listed in the top right corner. You probably don't want people who visit your website to see your WordPress username, especially if it's something other than your real name. It's important to note that this next step is actually going to change how your name shows up in the WordPress dashboard and throughout your website, not just on posts. This is a quick and easy task that can really help your website's brand representation. So how we're going to do that is just hover over our profile and select Edit Profile. In the box labeled First Name, I'm going to type Nancy, but you can write whoever's name here you would like. Since I don't have a full last name picked out for Financy Nancy, I'm just going to type the F initial, but I encourage you to write a full last name here if you can. And you can skip over the text box labeled nickname and just open up the drop-down menu labeled Display Name Publicly As. I'm going to select Nancy F. I suggest opting for whichever option features your first and last name, as this is how your name will show up to people who visit your website. And to save this change, just scroll down and select Update Profile. And to see the results of this change, click the back arrow in your browser a few times until you return to the home page, and then click Refresh. And the name you just selected should now be visible as the author of each of these posts, rather than your WordPress username. And yeah, that's how you design blog posts. You can add as many of these as you want. I recommend adding them fairly regularly if you can. It's really up to you how you go about displaying them, how you go about laying them out. There are millions of blogs out there to get inspiration from if you're not sure exactly how to handle it, but that's it for blog posts. Okay, now that we have a few posts set up and our website's starting to look a little fuller, I am gonna show you a few more ways that you can customize your website and just demonstrate a fraction of WordPress's versatility. The first thing that we're going to change is the permalink that shows up on your posts. If you don't know what a permalink is, it's basically the text that shows up after a domain. And as you can see, the domain that we have right now doesn't look great. We're going to go back and change that later. But right now, we just want to cut down the permalink that you see on each of your posts. As you see, this is currently listing the date of publication along with the title, and it just looks a little messy. And I'm going to show you how to simplify that. So to edit the hyperlink, you'll want to return to the WordPress dashboard by clicking the WordPress logo. And then near the bottom of the gray menu to the left, hover over the settings option, then select permalinks. And you'll see all of these options for how the website displays your permalink. Currently, it's set to month and name, which you saw in the example I just showed you. We're going to simplify it down to just post name. And to do that, just select the bubble labeled post name under the list of common settings. Then scroll down and select Save Changes. And to view this change, just head back to the post section of the dashboard menu. hover over one of the posts that you've made and select View. And if you take a look at your post's new permalink, you'll see that it only shows the same wording that's in the post title, and it no longer features any numbers to represent the date. And if we check out the other post that we just uploaded, you'll see that the same thing has occurred. It's just the title. You'll notice that the slash here got converted to a dash, as well as all of the spaces got converted to hyphens. That's just something that WordPress does automatically. If you don't know, you can't have spaces in a domain or permalink. So this is just a nice feature that you don't have to worry about if you build a website with WordPress. Now I'm going to head back to the other post we were just working on by selecting the WordPress logo, clicking Posts, hovering over the Another Done Deal post and clicking View. And I'm just gonna show you how to add a few blocks so that you can get a sense of how customizable each page and post that you want to make is. So looking at your list of posts from the WordPress dashboard, hover over any of your posts and click Edit. So we returned to the block editor we were checking out earlier, which you can always access by clicking Edit under a post in the dashboard. The first block I'm going to add is a new paragraph block. To do this, I'll click the blue plus icon next to the WordPress logo, then select the paragraph block icon. Next, I'll open up my text document with all of my website's written content, copy the text I would like to use, select the block I just added, and paste it in. And one helpful feature about WordPress is that if you copy and paste pre-written text into the block editor, and you added a line break to that pre-written text by typing enter or return, when you paste the text into a text block, WordPress will automatically generate separate blocks for each paragraph. What I wanted to demonstrate with these new blocks is the headings function. So you'll see that I typed in a little H2 here, and that was just to remind myself to set this to an H2. The H stands for heading, and that's just another type of text that allows you to highlight a particular word or phrase to kind of give it more attention and give your post a little bit more structure. The large text at the top of a post is an H1. H1s are meant to act as a focal point for a blog post. Major headlines or post titles are perfect for an H1. There are several heading designations smaller than an H1, which can help organize and break up posts into more manageable sections. The second largest heading is an H2, followed by H3 and H4. WordPress gives you the option to generate up to an H6, but anything smaller than an H4 is kind of overkill. It is possible to add a heading block directly from the block menu the same way I added this paragraph block. However, you also have the option to change a block's type after you add it. To do that, select the block. You should see a small menu appear to the block you just added. At the far left of the menu is an icon indicating the type of block selected, in this case a paragraph. If you hover over this icon, a message will appear that says change block type or style. Click this icon to see what other block type options you have. I'm going to select heading, and as soon as I select heading, the text within the block will get much larger. To change the heading size, you can select the menu tab which says H2. In this tab, you can select the exact type of heading you would prefer. I'm going to keep this block as an H2. But feel free to try out a few different heading sizes to see what works best for your website's content. While we're here, I'm also just going to delete this little H2 marker because we do not need that anymore. The next type of block I'll show you how to create is a contact block. This block will help people who view your website to easily find how to get in touch with you. This step is especially important if you're building a website to promote a product or a service. First, I'll open the block menu by clicking the blue plus icon in the top left. Then I'll scroll down to the Genesis Blocks section, which comes built into my StudioPress theme, and select the Call to Action block. As you can see, this block has a handful of built-in features, including a button and heading. This is a great example of why it pays to invest in a StudioPress theme. There are so many aspects of StudioPress's service that can really add up to save you a lot of time and effort building your website. Rather than needing to format each of these individual components to create a similarly effective call to action block, we have the whole thing ready to use at the press of a button. The first change I'll make to this block is to fill out the header text that says call to action title. Currently, the text block displayed is almost transparent, and that's because it's meant to be filled in by the user. To change this text, just click to the left of the word call and type what you'd like it to say. I'm going to write get in touch. Now I'll change the smaller subtext beneath it the exact same way. and here I'll write for business inquiries. The next edit you'll want to make is to change the button text. Much like the text above it, this content is faded to indicate that the user is meant to change it. To enter your preferred button text, just click the button and type what you'd like it to say. I'm going to write Contact Nancy. So once you enter your button text, the next thing you want to do is select where the button leads when you click it. And one really convenient thing about WordPress is that if you already have a page set up and saved in the WordPress editor, you can just type its name. So I'm going to type contact because there's already a contact us page, and it will appear in a drop-down menu. And if you select it, this button will now automatically link to the contact page. So if I were to hit update now, and then preview the post by clicking preview right next to update, then click preview a new tab, and scroll down. First, you can see that we now have our new heading, our new text, and we have our new block for getting in touch. I'm going to hit Contact Nancy. It leads directly to the contact page. And while we're here, I'm going to edit the contact page. To edit the contact page, you'll want to return to the WordPress dashboard by clicking the WordPress logo in the top left, and then select Pages from the dashboard menu. The Contact Us page came built into this theme, and instead of adding a new page altogether, I'm just going to edit the one that exists. To do this, I'll hover over the Contact Us listing and click Edit. The first edit I'll make to the contact page is to change the H1 at the top of the page to match the text in the Contact Nancy button in the contact block I just made. The button will work no matter what you put here. This is just to keep the website clean and easy to navigate. Just like in the block editor for posts, you're free to add any blocks you would like to any page on your website. Personally, I think it's best to keep this page simple, so the only other change I'm going to make is to add a new featured image. This process is just like adding a featured image to a post. You should see a menu with the featured image tab to the right of your page. If you only see the words featured image, just click the tab to open it. In the featured image tab, click Set Featured Image. I'm going to upload another stock image saved on my desktop to use as a featured image. Once the image loads, click Set Featured Image. To save your work, click Update. After you click Update, a small pop-up should appear in the bottom left of your page indicating the update went through. You can click View Page in this pop-up to see what your new page looks like. Now that our contact page is all set up, let's head back to the WordPress dashboard by clicking the WordPress logo. Another thing that is helpful to know how to do is to learn how to save a block so that you can just use it throughout the website without having to remake it over and over again. And I will use the contact block we configured a few minutes ago to show you how to do that. To access that, I'll click Posts in the dashboard menu, and then hover over the post in which I made the contact block and click Edit. Now that I'm back in the block editor, I'll scroll down to the contact block, then select it. In the little menu that appears above the block, I'll select the 3 dots icon to the far right. By clicking this icon, I can access this menu with several options for actions I can take with this block. I'm going to click Add to Reusable Blocks. Then I'll rename the block to Get in Touch and click Save. By completing this step, we now have the ability to add this block to any post or page that we'd like. To save my work, I'll click Update in the top right, and then I'll head back to the WordPress dashboard by clicking the WordPress logo in the top left. Now that I have a reusable block saved, I'll show you how to add it to another post or page. First, I'll click Edit under the other post I made. Once I'm in the block editor for that page, I'll just click the blue plus icon in the top left, then select the tab labeled Reusable to the right. In the reusable list, I'll select Get in Touch, and the same block we made in the other post should appear. To save my work, I'll click Update. To see the new block in action, I'll select Preview, then Preview in New Tab. Now, if I scroll down, the Get in Touch block is now visible in this post, and clicking the Contact Nancy button leads to the contact page. Now I'm going to add the same reusable block to my home page. This process is pretty much identical to adding a reusable block to a post, but there are some slight differences I'll point out as we go. So first, I'll head back to the WordPress dashboard by clicking the WordPress logo in the top left. Then I'll select Pages from the dashboard menu. Next, I'll hover over my homepage listing and click Edit. Once I'm in the block editor, I'm actually going to scroll down and select the black plus icon underneath the newsletter block we added earlier, instead of clicking the blue plus icon in the top left. Doing this will ensure the block ends up exactly where I want it to. Now I'll select Browse All, then head back to the Reusable tab. Finally, I'll select the Get in Touch block to add it and click Updates. Finally, to look over my work, I'll select Preview, then Preview in a new tab. And if we scroll down, we have a Get in Touch block listed directly beneath the Nancy's Need to Know block that we made earlier, and it works just the same as it does on both of the blog posts. All right. One thing that I would like to mention while we're looking at the contact page is its URL. What I'd like to point out is that despite the fact that we changed the name of the contact page a while ago, its permalink did not change to match it. It still reads contact-us, which matches the stock title StudioPress gave this page before we edited it. Ideally, this permalink should read Contact Nancy to match the page's current title. You might be wondering why this is the case, because we already changed the permalink setting to match the title of the post or page. The reason that this permalink is not changed is because this page, along with several others that came with the StudioPress theme, were already considered published by WordPress before we made that change. Luckily, this is a pretty easy thing to fix. First, head back to the WordPress dashboard and then select Pages. Hover over the contact page and then click Edit. Once you're in the block editor, open up the Permalink tab in the menu to the right. It should be directly above the Featured Image tab. In the text box labeled URL slug, you can replace the text to match the title of your page. Remember, you can't have spaces in your permalink, so replace any of those with hyphens. Finally, click Update to save the change, then preview the page. As you can see here, my page's permalink now reads Contact Nancy. A quick disclaimer about changing permalinks. It's fine to make edits like this while you're building your website, but once your site goes live, you'll want to avoid changing a permalink as much as you can. If you start changing the permalinks of pages and posts once they're available to the public, it can cause 404 errors when people viewing your website try to click them. Before we get to the next step of the tutorial, I'm going to fill out my website a bit more by adding a few posts. This is just a quick time-lapse of me doing that. Since Financy Nancy isn't a real person or company, I'm just copying text from Wikipedia articles. I strongly recommend you avoid doing this when you make your own posts. So now that I have a handful of other posts, I'm going to show you some of the options you have for customizing your home page's layout now that we have all of this original content. To begin, I'll select Edit Page at the top of the page preview. You can always select Edit Page to get from a page's preview to the block editor. And first, I'd like to point out that my homepage currently shows previews for 5 posts. These previews are divided into 2 blocks. The larger 2 previews on top are a single block, and the smaller 3 previews below are also a single block. If you click on the space between previews in either of these blocks, you can access the block editor's Post and Page Grid menu, which is now visible to the right of my screen. With this menu, you can control a ton of features involving how your homepage is laid out. By clicking the Content Type drop-down menu, you can decide whether these blocks preview posts or other pages on your website. If you open the Order by drop-down menu, you can determine exactly how these posts get arranged on your website. Currently, mine is set to newest to oldest. But if I select oldest to newest, the 2 oldest posts on my website now occupy the top 2 preview positions, rather than the 2 newest. I'm going to set this option back to newest to oldest, as I think it makes the page a little bit easier to navigate. If you prefer, you can also organize posts alphabetically by name. Another way you can arrange these previews is by post category with the category drop-down menu. In this menu, every post category you've created for your website should be available. If I were to select the dummy post category in the top block, nothing would change, because both of these blocks are categorized as dummy posts already. If I change the category to status update, the top preview block will only display the one post I have categorized as a status update. And for that reason, there's this big gaping hole on the side of the block where another post would go. And if I were to just adjust the column section, or even just give the column section a little prompting so that the algorithm forces it to adjust, the single post preview expands to fill the entire block. Now, what I would like to do is have this top block display 2 of my dummy posts in newest to oldest fashion. So if I adjust the category to dummy post, you'll see that the number of items I have this block set to display is 2, and the number of columns I have this block set to display is 1. And if I scroll down, you can see that now I have these 2 huge posts aligned in a single column. That's not what we want. So what you want to do here is adjust the number of columns to 2. And then boom, we're back to that nice even display of 2 columns. And another feature that you might be wondering about is the number of items to offset. And this determines how up to date the posts that get displayed on your homepage are. So for example, if I set number of items to offset on this page to 1, it would skip over my most recent posts and display the 2 earliest dummy posts that I have, because there are only 3. I'm going to revert this number back to 0, so my website's homepage always displays the most recent post previews possible. So if I scroll down to this section, you can see that the 3 other posts that I have saved in my dashboard are all visible here. That is because the number of items I have is set to 3, and the number of columns I have is set to 3. I like how this setup looks, so I'm not going to change any of the posts and page grid settings in this block. However, I am going to add one more post to my website, just so I have at least one post that's not visible on my homepage. Now that I've selected my grid layout, I'm going to adjust the content that appears in each post preview. To do this, I'll scroll down in the Post and Page Grid menu and click on the Post and Page Grid Content tab to open it. Each of these switches corresponds to one aspect of the post previews throughout the grid. Currently, all of these switches are enabled except for the one labeled Display Section Title, which I'm going to keep turned off. The next switch is labeled Display Featured Image, and I'm going to keep that flipped on so each of my post previews displays the post's featured image clearly. I'll also keep the Display Title switch turned on so viewers can get a sense of what each post is about. I'm going to disable the Display Author switch by clicking it. Since all of these posts are written by one person, I think seeing the author's name over and over on the home page might be unnecessary, especially since the posts themselves will still display the author's name when you visit them. As you can see, neither of these post previews display the name Nancy F anymore. I'm also going to turn off the Display Date switch since these posts are already arranged by date. Once I click the Display Date switch to flip it off, the date will disappear from each post preview. Finally, I'll disable the Display Excerpt switch as well. Doing this significantly reduces the amount of textual content that appears in each preview, which I think makes them look a lot cleaner. Now that each of these settings is configured how I want them, all that's left in each post preview is a featured image, a title, and a continue reading link. It is possible to disable the continue reading link by flipping the display continue reading link switch off, but I'm going to keep it on. However, I will change the text in the link, which you can do by selecting the Customize Continue Reading text box. I'm going to change this text to Learn More. Now I'm going to scroll down to the block with the smaller previews and adjust their preview content so that they match the larger previews above them. Now that all of my post preview settings match, I'm going to click Update in the top right corner, then click View Page. And now I'll scroll down to show you that all of the edits I just made are now visible. Now I'm going to click Edit Page to show you one more detail in the block editor about updating your grid settings. You may have noticed an error above the Read More Post button that says this block contains unexpected or invalid content. I experimented with this for a few minutes and found that every button in the error message was unresponsive. Before moving forward with the website build, I'll show you how to resolve this issue to get rid of the error message. Before doing anything else, update your page if you've made any changes. I just updated my page, so I don't need to. Then, return to the WordPress dashboard, hover over Posts in the dashboard menu, and select Categories. In the Categories section, you'll see a list of every post category you've made, as well as a built-in uncategorized category. Hover over any of the categories you created, then move your cursor over View. Next, right-click and select Copy Link Address. Now click on your website's title in the top left to return to the home page. Then click Edit Page. This will bring you back to the homepage block editor. Scroll back down to the error message, and then click the 3 dots icon to the far right. Now click Attempt Block Recovery, and a new menu should appear. Click the link icon and paste the link you just copied by pressing Command-V on Mac or Control-V on a PC. In the text box, highlight everything before the first / and delete it. All you should see in this text box is / category and then / the name of the category that you selected. Then click Return on a Mac or Enter on a PC. Finally, click Update in the top right, then click View Page when the pop-up appears. Scroll down to the button and click it. It should bring you to a collection labeled with the category's name that features every post you've published as part of that category. So the homepage is looking alright. All the buttons should work fine now. But you'll notice that there are a number of things that we haven't even touched regarding this menu and some of the pages that came built in with the website. A few of these we're going to delete, and a few we're going to edit out the stock content and replace it with our own. So let's handle the easy stuff first, which is to delete the block example and landing page. First, I'll head back to the dashboard by clicking the WordPress logo, and then I'll click Pages in the dashboard menu. To delete the block content examples page, just hover your cursor over its listing and click the trash button. Then do the exact same thing with the landing page. The next thing I want to look at is the pricing page. To do that, I'll hover my cursor over the pricing page and click View. StudioPress provides 3 built-in pricing layouts, one with 2 columns, one with 3 columns, and one with 4. I only want to use the 3-column option. To get rid of the unnecessary content, I'll click Edit Page. Then one by one, I'll remove the blocks I don't need. First, I'll select the header that says 2 columns, then select the 3 dots icon from the menu that appears when I click it. Finally, I'll click Remove Block. Then I'll click the larger block which houses both columns, select the 3 dots again, and click Remove Block again. Now I'll skip over the 3-column blocks and remove the 4-column option the same way I removed the 2-column layout. After I've deleted everything else, I'm left with the 3 columns header and a 3-column pricing template. The next thing I'm going to do is change the title of the page. To do this, I'll select the block that says Pricing Page and highlight the text. Now I'll type my new title, Find a Plan. I'll also change the text of the smaller header the same way. First, I'll select the block, then I'll highlight the text and replace it by typing pricing options in its place. Now that our titles are all set, I'll show you how to edit the columns. The first pricing package I'm going to set up is for a free consultation. In the far left column, I'll highlight the bolded text at the top, then type consultation in its place. Now I'll select the finer italicized text block and remove it completely by clicking the 3 dots in the menu that appear when I select it, and click Remove Block. Next, I'll select the section of the column that says $29.99 and delete the text. Then I'll type free in its place. To get rid of that $, I'll go over to the Product Price menu to the right of my screen and erase the text in the currency symbol text box. The $sign within the column should then turn translucent. Before moving on, I'm actually going to capitalize all of these letters. I'm also going to bold this text by highlighting it and pressing the B icon in the menu above the block. The next section of the column displays the plan features. I'm going to select these features with my cursor, delete all of them, and copy my own content from the text document full of original content from my website. After copying the text I want, I'll select the now empty plan features section and paste it in by pressing Command V with my Mac. If you have a PC, you can do this by pressing Control V. Finally, I'll edit the button at the bottom of the column. First, I'll click the button and highlight the text. Then, I'll replace the stock button text with the phrase Schedule Today. When I click this button, the Product Button menu appeared to the right of my screen. In this menu, I'll make the button larger by opening the drop-down menu labeled Button Size and clicking Medium. Then, I'll select the button again. The text box beneath the button is for the URL the button will lead to. I'm just going to type the word Contact, then select the option that says Contact Nancy when it appears. Doing this will automatically configure the button to lead to the Contact Nancy page I made earlier. To confirm this, I'll click the arrow icon beneath the text box. Now I'll move on to filling out the second two columns. In all honesty, designing this section of the website took a lot of trial and error. Thankfully, StudioPress makes it easy for its users to experiment with different tools and styles. What goes into your pricing page is extremely subjective. In this time-lapse, you can see a number of different formats I experimented with before settling on the final product. Feel free to use my suggestions from the first column as a base, but the block editor is extremely forgiving, so you're welcome to think outside the box here as well. If you get stuck, you can always reach out to StudioPress's superb support team as well. When you purchase a StudioPress theme, you receive automatic access to WP Engine's help and support services. If you're looking for friendly and reliable advice on how to customize your website, check out the link in this video's bio to access StudioPress's versatile help services. Now that the content for the pricing page is finished, I'm going to add a featured image to it. To do this, I'll head back to the Pages section of the dashboard by clicking the WordPress logo in the top left corner of my screen. While I'm here, I'm going to quickly delete the sample page listing by hovering my cursor over it and clicking Trash, as I missed that page when we were clearing out our unused pages earlier. Now, I'll hover my cursor over the Find a Plan page listing and click Edit so I can get back to adding a featured image. I'm back in the block editor now, and you may notice that the menu that's usually available to the right side of the block editor isn't there. If you ever need to access this menu or hide it from view, just click the little gear icon in the top right corner. Now I'll click the Featured Image tab again and select Set Featured Image. Next, I'll click Select Files to upload a new stock image from my desktop, then click Set Featured Image again when it loads. Once the featured image is visible under the Featured Image tab, I'll click Update and preview the page. It looks pretty good to me. Now I'll return to the WordPress dashboard to begin work on the About Us page. In the dashboard, I'll click Pages, hover over the About Us page, and click View to take a look. Now, if I scroll down, you can see everything this page has to offer. At the top of the page, there's a stock featured image and a title, and beneath that are two columns, one with a short bio and one featuring contact information. I'd like to change up this page quite a bit. To begin, I'll click Edit at the top of my screen. In the block editor, I'll first select the title to change it. I'm going to erase the word Us and type Nancy in its place. Next, I'll open the Permalink tab and change the page's permalink to Match. Now, I'm going to completely remove the heading block that says About, because I think that might be a little redundant. To do this, I'll select the heading block, click the three dots from the menu that appears above it, and click Remove Block. Next, I'll copy the bio I wrote for this page from my text document of website content. Then, I'll select the built-in paragraph block, delete the built-in text, and paste in my own bio. Since this website already has several resources with information about how to contact my Nancy, I'm going to completely erase the content on the right side of its page. First, I'll select the paragraph block and erase it from the page completely. Now, I'll select the heading block that says Contact Us and remove it as well by clicking the three dots icon from the menu that appears above the block and selecting Remove Block. While I'm deleting the text from the block before removing it, this isn't necessary to successfully remove the block. Next, I'll select the black plus icon to add a new block and select the image block option that appears when I click it. Now, I'll click the blue Upload Image button and select an image from my desktop. After the image uploads, WordPress should automatically place it in your page. Now, I'm going to click Update, then view the page to see how it looks. The new content looks great, but it's still displaying the built-in featured image. To change this, I'll click Edit in the bottom left of the page. Don't worry, that edit button won't show up when your website goes live, it's just there to make building your website simpler. Now, I'll open the Featured Image tab in the menu to the right and click Replace Image. Just like every other featured image, I'll upload one from my desktop, then click Set Featured Image. Now that I can see my new featured image in the Featured Image tab, I'll click Update to save the change. Then, I'll select View Page to see how it looks. I'm pretty happy with this bio page. Now, I'd like to take a brief inventory of all of the pages I've made by clicking through the menu at the top of my screen. The contact page looks pretty good. The home page also looks pretty good. I'm also pretty satisfied with how the pricing page turned out. However, the menu itself looks a little weak, I think. Since we removed several of this theme's built-in pages, it only has 4 options to choose from. Luckily, WordPress gives you a lot of customization options for the menu as well. Right now, I'll show you some of the ways you can flesh out your website's menu. To begin, I'll return to my home page by clicking the website title in the top left of my browser. Then, I'll hover over my website title and select Menu. This is the WordPress dashboard's menu editor. The part of this editor that I'll be focusing on the most is the menu structure section to the right. One of the first things you might notice are these red error messages. These are the result of the pages we deleted earlier in the website building process. To get rid of these errors, move your cursor to their listing and click the down arrow, and click Remove. Now, the only page listings left in the menu structure panel are the 4 pages currently active on the website. If you click the down arrow in any of these listings, you can see some of the options you have for changing the menu layout. Each of these listings has a text box labeled Navigation Label. If you'd like to edit how a certain page appears in your website's menu, this is where you can make that change. Below that box, there are several buttons that allow you to determine the order of your menu items. You can also rearrange this order by clicking and dragging your listings into the order you would like. I think I will switch the Find a Plan and Contact Nancy listings. So Contact Nancy will appear in the far right of the menu the next time I preview my website. You can also configure the menu to link to posts and post categories in addition to pages. To do that, bring your cursor over to the Add Menu Items section of the menu editor and click the down arrow next to the type of item that you'd like to add. I'm going to add a post category to my website, so I'll open the Categories tab. I'd like to make post categorized as Nancy's News available from my menu. To do that, all I need to do is click the checkbox next to the Nancy's News category, then click Add to Menu. Almost as soon as I do that, a listing for Nancy's News will appear under Menu Structure. Now to save all of these changes, I'll click Save Menu in the top right corner of Menu Structure. To see the results of my work, I'll click on my website's title in the top left to go back to the home page. Now, the Contact Nancy item is to the right of Find a Plan, and a 5th button is now available for the Nancy's News category. If I click Nancy's News, it will lead directly to a collection of all of the posts featured in that category. I think this menu looks great, so I'm going to keep it this way. However, there is one more change I'd like to make to my menu design. To make this edit, I'll hover over my website title again, then click Menu again. If you take a look at the menu settings section at the bottom of the menu editor, you can see the display location options. Currently, the box labeled Header Menu is already checked. This makes sense as we just saw the menu in our website header. What I'm going to do is click the Footer menu box beneath it. Doing this will make my menu accessible from the footer at the bottom of my website as well as from the header. Now I'll click Save Menu to confirm this change, then click on my website title again to see the results. Now I'll scroll down to the bottom of my homepage, where you can see the exact same menu that's available at the top of my website. And if I click any of these items, not only will it lead to the same page, but the same footer menu will be accessible there as well. And this can be super helpful, as now all of your prospective customers, or just anyone checking your website, doesn't always have to constantly scroll back up to the top of each of your pages to access your menu. Instead, they'll have easy access to it no matter where they are on each page. I'd say this website is pretty much done. I have original content on every page. I've replaced every built-in image with one that I chose. I've written a myriad of posts and categorized them into several categories. And all of the buttons work, and all of the links lead to functioning URLs. Now it's time to start some housekeeping. The first thing that I'm going to do is go back through all of my posts and add the reusable contact block to each one. I added it to a few when I built it. Now I'd like to make it accessible from every published post I have so the website stays consistent. Now that that's taken care of, I'll give my website a quick once-over to see if it's missing any important details. Well, I'm glad I did that, because the contact button in my reusable contact block now leads to a 404 error message, rather than the Contact Nancy page. I think I know what's wrong, so I'll head back to the home page, then click Edit Page to visit the block editor to try to fix it. Now that I'm in the block editor, I'll scroll down to the Get in Touch block and click it. Once the block is selected, I'll click Edit in the top right corner. Now, I'll select the button and take a look at its URL. The problem here is that this URL's permalink says contact-us, not contact-Nancy. The reason for this is because I made this block before I changed the contact page's permalink, so this URL now leads to a page that doesn't exist. To resolve this error, I'll just erase the us from the permalink and type Nancy in its place. Now, I'll click Save in the top right of the block. Then, I'll select Update in the top right of my browser and click View Page. Now, I'll scroll down to the Get in Touch block again and click the Contact Nancy button again. And the button now leads to the exact page I would like it to. And one super convenient thing about reusable blocks is that you only need to make changes like this once. If I visit another poster page and click the same button, it will automatically lead to the Contact Nancy page as it should. The next WordPress feature I'd like to introduce to you is plugins. In a similar way to how WordPress themes change the appearance of a website, plugins change the way the website works. Usually, web designers install plugins to perform functions that aren't built into WordPress already. There are a huge array of WordPress plugins. Some are designed to help manage your website's traffic and analytics. Others assist with things like financial exchanges or spam blocking. Some are totally free. Others you need to pay for. The first plugin I'd like to show you is Yoast SEO. Yoast is a plugin designed to help optimize your website for search engines, and our team recommends it to anyone who uses WordPress hosting. SEO stands for Search Engine Optimization, which is what web designers do to help their pages and posts show up in Google, Bing, or other search engines. Conveniently, when you set up a WordPress website with GoDaddy, Yoast comes pre-installed in your dashboard, which saves you from needing to go through the installation process. To begin configuring Yoast, click the WordPress logo in the top left corner of your screen to return to the dashboard. Then click the SEO option with a Y icon next to it on the dashboard menu. You should now be in Yoast section of the WordPress dashboard. The first thing you'll want to do is fill out Yoast's SEO configuration wizard, which you can do by clicking the hyperlink in this pop-up near the top of your display. And the configuration wizard is just a brief questionnaire designed to help users set up Yoast for their website's exact needs. Since this website is under construction, I'm going to select option B for this first question, and then I will click Next to move forward. If Finance Nancy were real, her company would qualify as a small offline business, so that's the option I'm going to select for this question, and then I'll click Next. And I'm actually going to select that this website represents a person rather than an organization. Now I'll enter the name I saved in the WordPress dashboard earlier this tutorial that represents Financy Nancy. I would like search engines to display both posts and pages from my website in their search results, so I'll leave both of these answers as yes. This website does not have multiple authors. This section of the configuration wizard allows you to choose how your website will show up in a Google search result. Under website name, I recommend using your website's title. For the title separator, everyone on our team likes the vertical line because it takes up the least amount of space in the search engine result. I'm not going to allow Yoast to track my site data, but this isn't necessarily a deal breaker in terms of successful search engine indexing if you would like to let them. And I'm going to skip over this invitation to join Yoast Premium by clicking Next at the bottom of the page. And finally, I will click Close, which should automatically bring me back to the WordPress dashboard. Now that the configuration wizard is complete, it's time to start integrating Yoast into my website. The first thing I'll do is click Search Appearance, which is located beneath Yoast's listing in the dashboard menu. Now I'll click Taxonomies, which is the fourth option to the left in this little collection of tabs. Under Show Categories and Search Results, I'm going to click No. Selecting No here will prevent search engines from displaying entire post categories in a search result. The reason you don't want to do this is because it might interfere with the traffic your individual posts get. It's preferable to allow search engines to only display your posts as opposed to categories, so that more people will click on the individual posts themselves. Now I'll scroll down and click on the Tags drop-down menu to open it. Here, I'm going to click No under Show Tags in search results. Next, I'll open the Formats drop-down menu and click Disable under Format-Based Archives. And finally, I'll scroll down and click Save Changes. Now, I'll scroll back up to the tabbed menu at the top and click on Archives. In the Author Archives drop-down menu, I'll confirm that this switch is set to Disabled. If it's not disabled in your dashboard, then click Disabled. Then open the Date Archives drop-down menu and click Disabled as well. Then click Save Changes again. The next thing I'm going to do is click on Pages in the dashboard menu. Now I'll click directly on the name of my homepage. And now I'll scroll down past the bottom of the block editor into the section of my display that says Yoast SEO. The first thing I'd like to point out is this little box called the snippet preview. The snippet is how a page or post shows up in a list of search results on a search engine. Many of you probably recognize this layout from a Google or Bing search. And one of the things that I love about the Yoast plugin is that it makes editing your post or page's snippet super easy. The SEO title is how the blue hyperlink in a page or post snippet will appear in search engine results. For most posts or pages, you can pretty reliably leave Yoast's suggested SEO title how it appears. However, since this is the home page, the title of the page is the same as the title of the website. For this reason, the SEO title looks pretty redundant. Instead of having my SEO title list my website title twice, I'm going to edit the SEO title for this page alone. To reformat the SEO title, I'll highlight the title and page entries in the text box, then delete them by pressing backspace. In their place, I'm going to type a brief description of Financy Nancy's service. While doing this, I'll keep an eye on the thin colored bar beneath it. This bar represents how long Yoast suggests your SEO title should be. Anywhere in the orange or green is ideal. If the bar turns red, your title is too long. I'm going to try typing Multimedia Financial Advising and Investment. The bar beneath it is green, so it looks like it fits Yoast's length requirement. Beneath the SEO title text box is the slug. The slug is basically the quality of a page's URL that makes it user-friendly. In a sense, the permalink I set up for each post and page also acts as a slug, but depending on your permalink settings, this isn't always the case. If you want to know more about slugs and the Yoast plugin in general, check out Yoast's own guide called The Beginner's Guide to SEO, which we have linked in the description. Currently, the slug says Live the Life You Deserve, which was the title of my StudioPress theme stock homepage. Since we've edited this page significantly, it would be best to change the slug to match. To edit the slug, I'll just highlight the text in the text box labeled slug, then delete it. Conveniently, Yoast works some SEO magic when you do this, and automatically generates a replacement slug to match the page's title. And then the meta description is what you see here. It's just a miniature summary of the page so that people know what they're clicking. And in the meta description text box, I'm just going to write out a little summary about Financy Nancy. Just like the SEO title, Yoast displays a thin colored bar beneath the meta description text box to show you how much text you should have. Again, anywhere in the orange or green range is ideal. And now if you take a look at the snippet preview, it's extremely representational of the content on the Financy Nancy homepage, and it looks pretty good too. It's worth noting that you don't need to go crazy configuring all of this information for Yoast. Over the past few years, major search engines like Google have started making page search results appear however they want. However, it's good for smaller websites who want to rank well to at least attempt to configure this information. Even if Google doesn't wind up using it, making the suggestion itself will help your pages stand out. To save these changes, I'll click Update in the top right corner. In terms of using the Yoast plugin, the homepage is more of the exception than the rule. Next, I'll show you how to use Yoast to optimize posts on your website as well. To do this, I'll head back to the post section of the WordPress dashboard and click on one of my published posts. Located beneath every post's block editor is the Yoast snippet preview editor, which is identical to the one I was working with on the home page. One nice aspect to optimizing posts is that you can keep the SEO title the same, since the post title is unique from the website title. The slug you can also keep, as it should correspond to the post title. The only thing you'll want to add here is a meta description. A post meta description is principally the same as the home pages. I recommend just typing out something brief that summarizes the post content in an enticing way. I'd also like to point out Yoast SEO's Analysis tab, which is located directly beneath the tab I've been working in. You can click any tab in the Yoast plugin to open or close it. The SEO Analysis tab provides a lot of great suggestions for how you can change your post to make it better optimized for search engines. So I'm back in the WordPress dashboard now. The next thing I would like to do is configure my website's domain so this ugly stock domain no longer appears in my browser. To set up your website's domain, click Settings in the dashboard menu. I'd like to draw your attention to the settings labeled WordPress address and site address. Currently, these URLs match the domain of the URL in my search bar. However, both of these text boxes are grayed out so I cannot edit them. Instead, I'll click this hyperlink that says Change Domain. Clicking that link will send you from the WordPress dashboard directly into a page on GoDaddy's website displaying a pop-up that says Attach Domain. This pop-up should have a drop-down menu that says Choose a Domain. This menu should feature the domain you registered with GoDaddy when you set up your WordPress hosting subscription with them. If Financy Nancy was a real organization, I probably would have registered a domain like financynancy.com. However, since I made this website for this tutorial, I thought it best to be transparent, which is why I went with the domain wpgdtutorial.com or wordpressgodaddytutorial.com. To confirm that I want this domain for my website, I'm going to make sure that the checkbox labeled Make this the primary domain for your account is checked, and then I'll click Attach. Now, GoDaddy will begin configuring my domain to my website. This will take a few minutes. GoDaddy will let you know your website is live with this pop-up in the top right. This pop-up also has a button that says Go to Settings. I'm going to click it just to show you where it leads. As you can see, it brought me to pretty much the same page we were just on. At the top of this display, it gives you the option to configure an email address with your domain name. I'm going to opt not to do that. To see my domain in action, I'll head back to the WordPress dashboard. To get back to the dashboard from this page, I'll click the GoDaddy logo in the top left to get back to GoDaddy's homepage. Then I'll click the down arrow next to my name in the top right, and then click My Products in the menu that appears. Now I'll scroll down to Manage WordPress Hosting under All Products and Services, and click Manage. Now, in the box that says Edit Your Website Design, I'll click Go to Customizer. And now that I'm back in the WordPress editor, you can see that my domain now reads wpgdtutorial.com. To get back to the dashboard, I'll click the X in the top left. Now, I'll return to Settings by clicking Settings in the dashboard menu. While both of these URLs I pointed out earlier are still grayed out, they both show my chosen domain instead of the one that WordPress generated for me. Currently, I'm in the block editor of my homepage. If you don't know how to access this section of the WordPress editor already, you can always get here by clicking your website title in the top left corner of the WordPress dashboard, then click Edit Page. Now that I'm here, I'd like to set up the newsletter block that I pointed out earlier in this tutorial. The first thing you want to do to configure your newsletter is to set up an account at MailChimp.com. MailChimp is a transactional email service perfect for how I'll be setting up my website. I already had an account, so unfortunately I can't show you how to set one up step by step. However, MailChimp's sign-up process is not particularly different from most other account registration platforms on the internet. In fact, I'd wager the process is even easier than signing up for GoDaddy's hosting. I'm currently registered for the free plan, which is great for websites with smaller audiences. There are also paid plans that you can purchase or upgrade to if you find you require a larger mailing list. Once you have a MailChimp account set up, you'll want to set up an audience as well. To get to the audience section of MailChimp, click the icon that looks like 4 smiling faces in the menu to the left. Next, click the drop-down menu labeled Manage Audience in the top right, then click View Audiences. I already have my audience set up, but to create a new one, just click Create Audience in the top right and follow the prompts MailChimp gives you. It only takes a minute or so to configure a new one. Next, head to your profile by clicking your profile picture in the bottom left, and then click Profile. Now, click the tab labeled Extras and select API Keys. Copy the API key that corresponds to your audience by highlighting the code listed under API key and pressing Command-C on Mac or Control-C on Windows. Now head over to the WordPress dashboard. Then click Genesis Blocks in the dashboard menu and paste the key you just copied into the text box labeled MailChimp API key. Next, click Save All. Now I'm going to head back to my homepage by clicking my website title in the top left, then I'm going to click Edit Page. Now I'm going to scroll down to the newsletter block and select it. In the newsletter tab in the menu to the right, I'm going to open the mailing list drop-down menu and click the list I just created in MailChimp. If your list isn't available immediately after you add the API key, try refreshing the page. It might take a few minutes to show up. Then click Update and View Page. I'm going to scroll down to the newsletter block and test it with another one of my email addresses. If your newsletter works as it should display a thanks for subscribing message after someone clicks subscribe. To keep track of who signs up for your newsletter, head back to MailChimp and click Audience again. Then scroll down to the Recent Growth section, click New Contacts, and you can see every email address that has recently subscribed to your newsletter. I know my API key is working because I can see the email address I just used to subscribe. The next small adjustment I'm going to make is to edit how my post categories display individual posts within them. To show you what I mean, I'll click on the post category Nancy's News. As you can see here, this category currently shows this entire post text, and if there were any other posts in this category, they would also be fully displayed here. You can probably imagine how easily this display would get jumbled if multiple posts are entirely visible from the post category. This is also bad for your website's traffic, because having an entire post available to read within the category display will make people less incentivized to click on your post. To fix this, I'll click the Customizer in the menu at the top of my screen, and then I'll click on the Theme Settings tab. Then I'll click on Content Archives. Under this label that says Select one of the following, I'll open the drop-down menu and click the option that says Entry Excerpts. As you can see, now only a portion of the post is available from the display, which I think looks much cleaner. Now I'm going to click Publish to save the change. While I'm in the customizer, I'm going to make another change to my post settings as well. First, I'll click on this post to view it fully, then I'll click the back arrow in the customizer menu once. Now I'll click the breadcrumbs tab. And in this checklist, I'm going to click on breadcrumbs on single post to activate this feature. If you don't know what breadcrumbs are, they're an HTML feature to help make your posts easier to find in search engines. Now I'll click Publish to save this edit, and click this X to get back to the WordPress dashboard. I was doing another once-over of my website, and I noticed that the orange hero button I configured earlier in the tutorial does not work how it's supposed to. Rather than lead to the Contact Nancy page like it's meant to, it just refreshes the home page instead. To fix this, I'm going to click Customize to head back into the customizer. Then I'm going to click on the pencil. And in these settings to the left, I see that the hero colored button URL text box is empty. To fix this, I'm just going to type the contact page's permalink and click Publish. Now I'll click the X in the corner to head back to my page preview and test out the button. And there we go. The button now works exactly how it's supposed to. Alright, pretty much the final change I want to make to my website is to make this website available for indexing by search engines. This is a really quick step. To complete it, I'll head back to the dashboard, hover my cursor over Settings in the dashboard menu, and click Reading. Now I'll click this box labeled Discourage Search Engines from indexing this site to uncheck it. Then I'll click Save Changes. And that's pretty much it. If you've been following along throughout this tutorial, you should have a pretty sweet looking website live and ready to go. Congratulations. Okay, I promise this is the last edit I'm going to make. I realized that I never changed my website's logo from the stock image I uploaded earlier. I'm just going to quickly go in and replace it with a real logo David and I made for Financy Nancy a while back, and then my website will be officially complete. And that's it. Thank you all for watching, and good luck building your website.
And you did it. Congratulations on making it this far and creating your own WordPress website.
Yeah, and before we wrap up, I just want to say thank you to Colin. Putting together a video like this is a beast and a ton of work, and he did a great job. Thank you, Colin.
No problem, guys. It was my pleasure.
Yeah, so you're still sticking around for the last few seconds here. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed. Leave a comment down below if you have any questions for Colin or us about your WordPress website. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more great videos about WordPress.